let's dive deeper to see that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was not looking to collect money as any Lord of War would do. This time we can go to his house and see how he was dealing with his wives financially. And there is a very famous story about the demands of his wives from him to increase the expenses that he was giving them. However, he was trying to tell them that he cannot. He does not have a financial possibility to increase their expenses. However, they keep pushing him and keep asking for more. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, at the end got upset and he felt a little bit sad about that. So after a couple of days, he chose to give them the possibility to stay with him or to leave. He said, you can stay or just I can divorce you so you may be able to marry someone who's more richer than me. That was his answer. And then God sent him a couple of verses telling the Prophet's wife that he can divorce them about this issue. God said, O Prophet, say to your wives, if you desire the life of this world and its adornments, then come, I will provide for you and release you graciously. But if you desire Allah, His Messenger, and the afterlife, then indeed God has prepared a great reward for those of you who do good. Al-Ahzab 28:29. Based on these verses, God gave them the choice to be divorced from him and give the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who was feeling sad about this situation, that he has also the choice to just divorce them graciously in a nice way. As many verses talk about the way of divorce in Islam, it's all the times by this condition, graciously. However, he highlighted the great honor to be married to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It's not the same case all the times. There is only one last prophet. So many women would love to marry him just because he was the prophet. That's a privilege. Imagine a woman living with someone who had direct relationship with God. That's not an easy thing. Women would love to have that privilege. After these verses, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, went to his wife Aisha and said, I want to tell you something, but do not make any decision before consulting your parents. Aisha looked at him and said, what? Then he recited the verses to her, and Aisha looked at him and said, I do not need to consult my parents about this. I choose you and what God has prepared for me. Then he said the same thing to his other wives, and they replied in the same answer. They choose him over money and wealth. Their choice reflects the awareness of being with the last messenger of God, that honor that cannot be repeated in this life many times. They knew that they were married to a man of the highest moral character, a good man who had the last link between him and God. That's not something you can find in another house with another man. A man who guided people to the path of God, who showed them the likeness of the last message on this earth. A man who was leading by his kindness, mercy, and gratitude. Their choice tells us as well that Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a very gentle, good man with them. If he wasn't, they would just say thank you for giving us this possibility. But he was that person that any woman would prefer to stay with him even in hard circumstances than go and marry another person who is more wealthy. Because of his good manners, because of his great personality, and he could just ask for money from the Muslims, from his followers. There was a lot of rich people like Uthman, like Abu Bakr, like Umar. They were rich. They could help him, they could give him some money. He could take money from the public treasury to provide for his wife. But he didn't do that. He chose to give them what he can do. He chose to have a normal life and not looking for more money. If he was a warlord, he would just go and ask for more money from his followers, or try to steal it from another city, or started a war with another country. He gave them what he had with modesty and responsibility, and gave them the choice to stay with him or to leave peacefully. That Muhammad, peace be upon him, the Prophet of Mercy. Thank you so much. See you soon.